Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Kaiju King, one half of the Kaiju Brothers, here to bring you another episode of How to Draw Comic Books. And in today's episode, we're doing something a bit different this time. So instead of actually doing a character illustration, we went ahead and actually done a comic book page. And pulled a number of references when it came to drawing this character in particular that you see me working on right now. And I think that's something that I mentioned before when it comes to creating a character or actually working on a storyline, is to study other intellectual properties and actually find out what is it that you enjoy about that series or about what it is that you may read or what you're watching, and then take what you can from that if possible, or what it is that interests you, and see if you can incorporate it in some type of form or fashion into your own work. So for this particular character, I pulled a number of references or had a number of characters in mind when I came up with the conception. One in particular being Vincent Valentine from the Final Fantasy VII series, and he actually was known to utilize his limit breaks to transform into these monstrous beings. Some being like Jason Voorhees, or this one gun-toting vampire-looking monster known as Chaos. So I pulled a number of references such as that. There's a little-known series that's known as Ergo Proxy. I pulled a few design ideas from that series also. And again, that's something I always do recommend for people to actually do. There's nothing wrong sometimes with imitation. There's a difference between doing that versus blatantly copying something. But I think everyone, for the most part, they know the difference. This particular brush that I'm using is the dry brush. It's a thick brush, but it's a dry brush. It's spelled Gouache, and I'm using that, and I'm lowering the opacity. So I've selected a dark color, but I've lowered the opacity. That way it's giving that grayscale, and I'm using that to actually put some additional details onto this image. And one thing that I mentioned is, if you want to get into doing comic books, I definitely encourage you to not hesitate to get into it. Jump into it as soon as possible. One of the benefits of drawing comic books is that you have to draw different things constantly in those panels. You can't have a panel look the same as the next one. So it does push you to not be stagnant as an artist, if that makes sense. So I highly encourage you, if you want to get into comic books, definitely jump into that. It will help you tremendously. Don't hesitate to do it. Sometimes people may fall into that trap too of, hey, I want to do comic books, but mostly what you're drawing is pinups. And that's a trap that you don't want to fall into. I've seen constantly where someone actually, devotes their time to doing comic books, that, again, it definitely pays off. This cane, which looks like a rabbit or a lion, so to speak, is something that, again, that I created when I was younger. I took a lot of inspiration from Digimon when I came up with the design, and I encourage people to do that also. Sometimes you may have created a character, or you made a work or a concept, you may have written something as far as plot or story base, and you might have put it away, but give it time and come back. Sometimes you may see that you have some gold that you've been working on. It just may need to be polished just a bit, and hey, you can, bring it back and do something with it. And that's what I've done with this character here, in particular at the bottom. But again, I created this series to actually encourage and to assist those that are aspiring writers and artists and creatives. If you think they benefit from this type of material, please go ahead and share this with them. I have more comic book art on the way, as well as commissions as far as illustrations is concerned. But be on the lookout for that. And again, y'all take it easy. Later.